Hello, vinyl community. Yeah, I work this afternoon, so this morning, being Saturday, I decided to do some garage sailing. Well, I never have much luck garage sailing. Yeah. So I found an ad on Craigslist that looked promising. It mentioned musical instruments and music and books and blah blah blah. So I was like, oh, maybe they'll have some records. Well, they had some records. I think they had about 5 records that were common Goodwill fare, but they were in horrible condition. And the guy, he kind of knew, but he said, "Yeah, I'd probably do all those for $2." And I was thinking, $2? You'll be lucky to get $1 out of these. Yeah. So then I ended up. Well, I also made a stop. I did find an estate sale, and my thinking is, an estate sale is most likely an older person. An older person is more likely to have records. So I stopped in, and there were records. However, first of all, let me just say this was only my maybe second time going to an estate sale, and it's pretty creepy. I felt kind of weird going through this dead person's house, and I mean, people were like, people go to estate sales in droves, and I don't know, it's kind of like vultures. Anyway, let's not get too morbid here. But it's just a weird feeling. But they did have a stack of about maybe 50 records. I looked through it, and it was some decent stuff. There was a couple albums by Bread, some John Denver. What else? An album by Ashford and Simpson. I believe that's R&B, I want to say. And speaking of R&B, it looked like several of the records were R&B. But I had I think 12 picked out, and I took them over to the person running the estate sale and asked how much they were, and he said $1 a piece, and I was like, ugh. And as I was like sorting through them to see like if any were really worth paying that much for at an estate sale, I was expecting much cheaper. There was this guy that he said to me, "You collect vinyl?" I was like, "Yeah." And he says, "That stuff is not worth that much. 50 cents at the most. I'm more into the 60 stuff. Especially Psych." So, yeah. But he was kind of right, and I think at 25 cents a piece I probably would have bought those 12. At $1 each, I decided, well, okay, that's what I usually pay at one of the thrift stores that I go to, so I'll just check it out and kind of see what condition they're in. So I looked at the condition, and every single one had at least one what I would consider a significant scratch. And I was like, okay, 25 cents for these would be generous. So, I mean, they weren't in horrible condition, but yeah. I'm very picky when it comes to scratches, so one significant scratch, and usually I'm done considering it. So, at $1 a piece, no. And I wasn't gonna haggle with the guy. I mean, at most he probably would have gone down to 50 cents, and I didn't even know that I wanted to pay that much. So anyway, as a result of my strikeouts, I did end up going to Goodwill and Savers. I'll do Savers first, even though it was the second stop, because at Goodwill I found two Grails. So, but we'll start with Savers. It looks like someone dropped off a bunch of classical and spiritual or gospel music. Yeah, because that's mostly what they had. But I did manage to find some other things, and one I'm pretty excited about. Alright, so let's get started here. The first one, still sealed, is La Banda de Puerto Rico. Interpreta la canción del soldado y otros selecciones. So it's La Canción del Soldado and other selections, basically. My Spanish is very, very limited, and my pronunciation I'm sure is bad, but I'm sure you'll forgive me. But yeah, I'm excited to add this to my collection because, as you know, one of the areas I'm building my collection on is international music, so, or world music. So this is a great addition, and it's still sealed. Doesn't appear to be warped. Yeah, very excited about that. Alright, now we're getting into some classical. We have Van Cliburn doing Rachmaninoff Concerto No. 3, Symphony of the Air, Kirill Kondrashin conducting. And this is an actual Carnegie Hall performance of May 19, 1958. So there's that. And these I picked up for a little less than $1. I guess they were on sale because they're usually 99 cents at Savers, but they must have been on sale. Then we have Romeo and Juliet. Bertram. Cats enjoy new smells, and when you bring new records or books or furniture or anything into your home, the cat is in sensory overdrive. Anyway, Tchaikovsky, Prokofiev, Romeo and Juliet, San Francisco Symphony Orchestra, and it has a little booklet there. Love, love, love classical. This one I'm pretty excited about. Mozart. Definitely my favorite composer. I want to say this is the first Mozart I've added to my collection. Mozart is actually kind of hard to find. I see a lot of Tchaikovsky and some of those others, but I don't see much Mozart. So I was excited to add this one, and especially because it has Ein kleine Nachtmusik on it. And again, my German is even worse than my Spanish, so I apologize for the pronunciation there. But Ein kleine Nachtmusik basically means a little night music. I used to have, it wasn't this exact one, but I used to have something similar on cassette. And I believe, I want to say Ein kleine Nachtmusik. No, that's not the one. I was thinking of he composed his own funeral march basically. So of course I'm getting my information from the movie Amadeus, so we don't know if it's accurate. But that's a fantastic movie nonetheless. Yeah, so very excited to add this to my collection. Now this is the one that I was most excited to pick up because my collection is very, very sadly lacking in like jazz, like, you know, good classic jazz. You know, I have plenty of like smooth jazz and that kind of thing. Even like vocal jazz. I have a decent amount of that. But as far as classic jazz, very sadly lacking. So, I was very excited to see this, and I didn't originally know that it was like classic jazz, because I didn't recognize the name, the Jonah Jones Quartet. But you see a trumpet on the cover, and you know you gotta pick it up. Yeah, I have a fondness for the trumpet because for a couple years in like junior high, basically, I played the trumpet. I was never very good, and I probably shouldn't have given up on it. I could have become better, I suppose, but anyway. Yeah, so I did a little research on this one and discovered that it's more like classic jazz. So, yeah, the record is sticking out the bottom there. So I'll have to do a little repair work there, and there's no inner sleeve either. So, but the vinyl's in great condition, so I decided to pick it up. All right, so that was Sabres. Now. I will, by the way, some cheers to you. The weather here in Southern California is much cooler. We're still hitting, you know, the 80s, yeah, but it's beginning to feel much more like fall as far as, you know, California is concerned, towards Southern California anyway. Alright, so then my first stop was actually Goodwill, and it was the one that is in my old neck of the woods on the other side of town, and I found some good stuff, including a couple what I would consider grails. The first is, and I'll save the grails for last. This first one is not a grail, but I'm still very excited because again it adds to my international music collection. Indian street music. The Bowls of Bengal, I don't know. Yeah, so very excited about that. Now this one, I have a couple different versions of this already, but given the condition it was in, and the fact that it's 3 LPs for $1.99, I could not pass it up. Puccini's Madonna Butterfly. And I love the artwork on this one. It is a cutout. Yeah, the cut goes all the way through and through the inner sleeves as well. But yeah, not much on the back there. Yeah, but 3 LPs, and there's a booklet in there too. I was so glad to pick this up. I absolutely love opera, and this is the full opera. So one of the ones I do have, I don't believe is the full opera because it's just 1 LP, so it can't possibly be the full thing. So that's probably just highlights, but this is the full one, and then I have another one that's also the full one. So it'll be interesting to hear, you know, a couple different versions of this opera. So, oh, and this one is imported from England. So, yeah, very excited about that. Anybody else like opera? Alright, so now down to what, well, not the exact thing that we're listening to, but we are listening to Ruben Blades' greatest hits. That's what we're listening to. But I picked up this one, Ruben Blades, And I'm a bit unclear because it says antecedente, and then it says Y Son del Solar. So I'm not sure if this is the album title or this one. I couldn't find it online to be playing it, so I'm not exactly sure which one is the actual album title, but again, adding to my international music collection. So it's really I'm really getting there. All right, now this is a good one. It's not a Grail, but it's close. Johnny Cash's Greatest Hits, Volume 1. Very excited about that. Can I show you the back of the Ruben Blades one? Not much there. Anyway. Alright. Now we're down to the last two. These I would definitely consider Grails. In fact, I'm going to save that one for last. Yes. Procol Harum Live. So excited. I've been wanting Procol Harum, but you know the places I go to pick up vinyl, I mean it's like a shot in the dark, you know. So I am so excited to add this to my collection, and it's Procol Harum Live, and it says in concert with the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra. There's the back there. And it does have a Salty Dog on it. I love that song, The Salty Dog. So it'll be interesting to hear them perform it live with an orchestra. That'll be very interesting. So I'm so excited about this one. And then the last one, definitely a Grail. Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison. So excited about this one. I believe when I saw this one, I believe I gasped. Has some interesting I assume that's his actual writing there. Well, you know, a copy of his actual writing. So that's pretty cool. Oh, look at that. Oh, so good. It has some interesting songs on it. Of course, it has Folsom Prison Blues. The Long Black Veil, that's a good song. I don't remember that I've heard his version of that. Then it has Dirty Old Egg-Sucking Dog. There's some of the other songs. Yeah, so excited about this one. Alright, well, that is it. So I struck out with the yard sale and the estate sale, but I still managed to pick up some good stuff today. And yeah, all this was like $15, so I did well. I did very well. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I will definitely see you next time.